that kind of standoff. All of us imagine that in the end, Michael will get his money, he'll end up in a Dallas Cowboy uniform, et cetera, et cetera.
Do you still expect that?
I do, because I asked him. I said to him, are you willing to trade him? You want him to go? He said, he's a Dallas Cowboy, and I got him for 3 more years. Unless he's willing to sit out for 3 years, what's he going to do?
He can do some other things, but really what everybody wants to know is, who's the mama and who's the daddy?
What was the
And
deal?
who is the kid?
Well, listen.
We have to tune in to find that out. Right?
Well, listen, yes, that's true, but I found myself asking that damn question myself. So I'm just looking at him, and again, listen, you're old school, you're a billionaire,
yeah.
You're addicted to your ways, and this isn't the first, and he's given every indication that it ain't gonna be the last. There's a certain way of doing things. And listen, David Mulugeta is one of the best agents in the business. And to act like, to sit up there and say it's about 2 people, it's not about that dude that's the distant third. It's like, damn, are you really getting what you're saying? It gets one, and I tell people all of this the time when you're interviewing somebody on a show like this and you're just talking to them for a few minutes, that's different. When you got them for an hour, hour and a half, you let them speak. Yeah. And you go like this, I want y'all to hear in its entirety what this man is saying. And that's what it was.
You will see the entire thing on YouTube. It will be available later today. And, of course, much more of the interview on First Take.
This kind of feels like a press run, and he's manufacturing some drama in order for us to watch the doc. Like, please, everyone go watch the Netflix documentary. It's fun and entertaining so that Jerry can be happy and be quiet, because it feels like manufactured beef because he's trying to sell an album. And to me, it doesn't feel necessarily like it's genuine because it doesn't make sense. Like
it didn't feel manufactured.
Okay.
I felt this was different than Dak. Okay. This was different than CD Lamb.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? I believe he would say no. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. I think that for some reason you do have people, and we lament this on many occasions throughout our careers, where people are taking stuff personal, and you're looking at them like, what nerve for you to take it personal? We're the ones that should take it personal, not you.
Right.
But this is one of those situations where Micah would seem to be the one who should be taking it very personally, and it's Jerry Jones who seems to be taking it very personally. So I think you'll be very interested in what he has to say.
The impression you got from him is the ball's in Micah's court. Like Jerry's not inclined to move at all.
Jerry's not inclined to move at all, because Jerry's like, he's under contract. Yeah. He's a Dallas Cowboy, and anybody who's talking about trading, he said it's BS, because they can't talk to him. They know he belongs to the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, let's not give too much away again. First Take is coming up in 6 minutes. The entire interview available on YouTube. By the way, just very quickly, you and I are just about the same age. We both grew up in this city. You are now the voice on the E-Train with the new launch of our new app yesterday. I saw that in the rollout, which I hosted on Tuesday, and I thought to myself, even for you, who has had so many cool things happen in your life, for to be a New York City kid who rode the subway to school, which I did and you did, you're suddenly the voice on the E-Train. That's pretty good.
It was cool, because let me tell you something. I'm a very busy man. I ain't got no time to be doing some of these commercials and stuff like that. But they went like this. They said, hey, man, it's about the E-Train. I was like this. Damn, I took that. I took that when I had to go to school.
Yeah.
When I had to go to work. I mean, I took that all my life growing up in Hollis, Queens. So I took the E or the F train to 179th Street at 179th Street. So I'm like, yeah, I could do that.
All right, they're yelling at me, but you got to go. We love you. Good to see you back, my man. It's been too long. All right, First Take again coming up next. And so there's what are you pointing at? What is that?
Right, who's on first? Who's on second?
Yeah.
Who's the mama? Who's the daddy? Who's
He's the child. Jerry is the child. He is going to mom. He's not getting the answer he wants, so he goes to dad. Dad says yes. And you don't play your parents against each other. Maybe that's just firstborn guilt, or that you're going to get in trouble at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But your parents are a unit. The agent and the player are a unit. You don't get the answer from one if you don't get it from the other one.
But I think Jerry doesn't think he's the child in this scenario.
Well,
I think
that is the problem.
He thinks the agent is the child. Whatever. Jerry thinks he made a deal with Micah. He negotiated with Micah. Micah engaged, obviously, Jerry is saying at least, in discussing numbers, which caused Jerry to then move from where he began to where he wound up. And in his mind, that's the negotiation. Which, in everyone else's mind, the agent has a role in this.
I think to the point you made earlier, it's reasonable to be like, all right, we made progress. You don't want to do this anymore, so start back over from square one. The idea that the agent is coming in and trying to get him to move off his final spot, it's fine. Okay, that negotiation is null and void. Let's start over. And the most confusing thing about all of this is there really shouldn't be a negotiation for a player who's this good. Like, what happens is you become the highest paid at your position. That's the end of negotiation. What did TJ get? Okay, we'll guarantee you a little more than that. What did Myles Garrett get? We'll guarantee you a little more than that. That's kind of how it works.
And that's what Jerry claims is what happened. But the problem is the agent wasn't there. He's doing it with Micah, right?
It's what he claims will happen in March, prior to these new deals being signed.
Right.
If you felt that way then, Micah should have signed then.
Right.
You tried to get an understanding with someone and then wait until after the context changed and say, remember that understanding from months ago? That still stands.
No, I think Jerry would have signed the deal in March. If Micah had, but he says Micah went to the agent said, hold up, which makes sense. I mean,
that's what his job is.
These contracts are like 20, 30 pages long. Like, you have to do it with the agent. Jerry knows this. He's just trying to be like I'm in charge and you're going to do it my way.
And even the guys that represent themselves take the paperwork to the lawyer.
Exactly.
So at some point, he said, how dare the agent decide to negotiate?
So
that's his job.
He didn't like what he heard. So he didn't like what he heard back from the agent. So if they, let's say hypothetically, the agent goes to Jerry and says, yeah, well, this is a starting point. We'll work off of that. Jerry's saying it's not a starting point. The starting point was the beginning of my conversation with Micah. We're now at the end of it, so I don't feel like I have to keep coming up. And that's where that seems to be where the hang-up is. So
look, it is possible. The only thing we know from David Mulligata, he spoke to Ryan Clark, who is also a client of his, and said that he never used that specific language. Stick it up your, you know what?
If I did, so what?
But it doesn't matter. Anyway, that's what he said. The point is, now so we know he said that. What I'm entering now into an area of is speculation, which is that Micah Parsons may have, in his mind, negotiated or had a conversation about numbers that made sense in March. And the agent may have been saying, hold on a minute. Over the course of this summer, I see all these deals coming down the line. This deal isn't going to look so good when we get to September. And Jerry said, no, we already made a deal. That's speculation, but it would make sense to me that the agent would have had that conversation. So now, here's what I want to get to. By the way, Micah Parsons has responded in the way people reply to things in 2025. He scrubbed